Hello everybody, welcome back to another check-in. I can't believe it's week 22. I'll have almost been dieting now for half of a year. It's a sad story, isn't it? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today in our update, and of course go through questions on YouTube, talk about our upcoming challenges, free products, free resources, and all the good stuff that you can get from our website. But let's, start by taking a look at my data for this week. So I have been a little bit slack this week in terms of getting all of my information in a timely fashion. And that is, unfortunately, the reality of my work at the moment. So it's been a really, really stressful, busy week. And it was interesting. I saw somebody in last week's YouTube video in the comments say, why don't you just do a little bit less? I'm like, oh my God, if only I could tell you what is going on, it'd make a whole lot more sense why I'm having to work so much at the moment. But, maybe I'll be able to tell that story at some point in the future. But for now, I can't, and I just have to. I have to do certain things to meet a certain benchmark in order, continued growth and sustainability, of our businesses. But with that being said, it's just meant that things have been hectic and chaos this past week. I want to go over and show you my tracking sheet here because it aligns perfectly with how I have been feeling. So let me zoom in here so that you can get a little bit better look. All right, so we're pulling up the week from Monday, the 27th of May through to Sunday, the 2nd of June. Oh my gosh, guys, is it just me or does this year feel like it is just absolutely flying? Oh my gosh. Let's go over and have a look at my subjective data because I think that's really going to play into what I talk about today and some of the decisions that I'm going to make after my competition as well. So if you go to the sleep column, it's the one that I am highlighting here on the screen, you can see Monday through Sunday, my sleep has been so low. I know for me, I'm one of the individuals that needs 8 hours sleep just to function like a regular human. So for me to start the week with most of the nights at 6 hours, and you can see as I kind of trend through the week, it's down to 5.5, then 5 hours sleep on Friday, 6.5 on Saturday, 7 finally on Sunday. It's just not enough. It's the reality. And I'd love to be able to put myself to bed a little bit earlier. But again, my new coaching clients have been extremely, it's taking up a lot of time. And we've got multiple different projects going on in the background that eventually all kind of need me to sign off on them and check things. So, and then I have some other personal things going on that has also required hours of my time, collecting evidence, and literally is taking days to gather. So on top of my normal crazy work schedule, then, I've got basically a part-time job doing other things to kind of ensure my future. I've only had about 5 hours sleep the last couple of nights, and I've just felt really, really crappy. So yeah, I've been up to probably 12, 1 o'clock by the time I'm finally I can, I finish the last thing that I need to do on my phone, set my phone down, put some sleep music on, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 12:48 or something crazy like that. So, and then my alarm is going off at 6:30. I'm going to be hitting the pavement to get a walk in the morning at about 6:45. So it's just really tough. And I think, when we're not sleeping, it has so many unintended consequences. It affects every single facet of your life, from your increased hunger to your mood, I think to your cognition, everything is impacted. And I think it also just enhances feelings of overwhelm, depression, the list goes on. So, I've thought a lot about, what am I going to do after this competition? And in fact, last week, I was pretty clear about saying, I was feeling really down and was really doubting my capacity to even do this show. I'm not going to be ready. That's the consistent thought that I have had the last few weeks. And, I think I need to be really smart about my decisions moving forwards because ultimately, competing for me is a hobby. Like it truly is. It's a hobby. Sure, it, falls very nicely in suit with, parts of my business. Yeah, absolutely. But I also, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm doing something that is actually compromising my health and well-being. So I've decided that unless things change significantly in my personal circumstances, that after nationals, I'm done. I'd love to get to the Olympia this year. And I mean, I may qualify. I don't know. I have no idea. But even if I do qualify, I think I want to be intelligent in my decisions. I want to make sure that I can maintain, good mental health. And competing just takes up so much extra time. And it's time that I might have in the future. I'm not saying that I won't do it, maybe next year or even the Arnolds. I don't know. But, for now, just with getting 5 hours sleep, if that were to continue for, any more than the next 2 weeks, like I just know the significant and profound impact it's having on my health at the moment. Just during the day, for instance, I think at any point, if I just stopped and let myself close my eyes and lay down on the ground, I would sleep. Like I'm so exhausted. So, if you look at the hours that I spend lifting, now, that's not an unusual amount of hours, but it's the pressure to also get in, 12,000 steps every day. That is not normal for me. You can see here if I have a day of no activity, and I'm just going to highlight this column so that you can see. So is it Thursday here? This was a day where I had probably 7 or 8 new clients starting. So it was all their first week of check-in. So those weeks are always bigger weeks, a lot more to talk about. And as a consequence, and I also had another task that I had to do that took about 4 or 5 hours. It had nothing to do with work. It was just all personal stuff. So yeah, I didn't get to do anything that day. I literally sat down on the computer at 7:30 and I don't think I finished until about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So it was a huge day and my steps were only 1,700. So, I mean, I wish that I had a busier, more active job, but I don't. I certainly don't foresee my future days looking like that. That was a really unusual position to be in, but it's been really, really tough. So I just did a little bit of math earlier before coming and doing this recording, and it was actually very insightful to me because I haven't looked at it in this light before. But at the moment I've been doing pretty consistently and for 6 days of the week, like 14-hour days. So I will start about 10 a.m. So I'll get my training and things done, my walking and such in the morning, and then I'll sit down on the computer at about 10, and I have routinely been finishing close to midnight. That's 84 hours of work. And then if I wanted to add up all of the training that I'm doing, like that intentional movement, collectively between all of my lifting sessions, all of the planned walking and the spin that I'm doing, that comes out to about 810 minutes or 13 and a half hours every single week. That's on average like close to 2 hours per day. So technically, like my mind and my body is on from like 8 a.m. every day, 6 days a week to midnight. So there is very little time for anything else. And, when you think of it like that, that is such a drain. Like it's really, really like psychologically taxing to have no other opportunity to kind of rest. I have one day of the week where I still have to like clean my house, do my laundry. So it's been so tough. And to kind of do that without any additional support, it's been challenging. So I think as to not, cost me and my health, I think it's really smart for me not to do the Olympia, even if I do get invited after these competitions, if I do well. So yeah, unless things majorly change, that's the decision that I'm going to have to make. And I hope that people can relate to this. It may not be the same kind of goal, or it might be different circumstances, but it's really important to consider, what does pursuing a health and fitness goal cost you? Because it is a lot of mental work, and I don't think anything is worth your mental health. And I've kind of said from the very beginning, if I'm going to do this hobby, it can't cost me. And right now, just in the last couple of weeks, it's been really overwhelming, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to have to be smart about it. So hopefully there'll be another opportunity, maybe early next year, and I may not even want to. I must say, it's been such an awesome experience, last year and the year before, kind of stepping away from tracking macros in a non-competitive season, and to kind of reestablish a new set of values and priorities. And it used to be such a focus on bodybuilding and aesthetics. And that was because I was in a really fragile state. It was very low confidence, low body image, poor self-esteem, and I totally did competitions because I felt like I need to. And it was part of my identity. Now, I still enjoy the process. I love having a goal. It doesn't have to be a physical goal though. It can be business goals, it can be relational goals. But yeah, this has really been very time consuming. So I need to make sure that I'm putting my health first. So let's go and have a look at the other data for this week. So my muscle soreness over the last 7 days has not been that bad, which is surprising to me. But I also think there's a bit of a relationship there because the quality of my sessions I know hasn't been great. I don't think I'm getting as sore. Now, I can't say the same for today. I am so sore. I haven't trained at all this week until Thursday. So Thursday was the first day I got into the gym. You can see here, I'm doing this recording a little bit later than I normally do. So I'm already halfway through my new week, but I didn't get to train at all. So I was able to get a couple of spin classes in. Again, just work demands during the weekdays are more challenging. So it's great that I can push my training off to the weekend. But by golly gosh, after doing my session yesterday, and it was a big, almost 90-minute session, and I pushed pretty hard, and I had to do a spin class, and I got my walking in. I woke up today, I'm like, ooh, wow, I have not been this sore in a hot minute. That was something that I observed this past week. Over to my overall stress and mood. So I added this in as a new subjective score because I feel like I needed to. You can see at the start of my week last week, I wasn't too bad. Stress and mood were a 6 out of 10. And as we move up that scale, it's becoming more stressed and lower mood. And to get down to a 3 by Saturday and Sunday, that's not a place that I want to be. I also know that it was enhanced because I had some travel. So over the weekend, I had some clients that were competing, which was so fun when I got there. I mean, it was great to go and support them. And again, my client did exceptional. She absolutely killed it. However, it definitely, was it adds an element of stress and time that I clearly don't have at the moment to travel the 3 hours to Orlando and then 3 hours back on the train. And then all of Saturday, which is usually a day where I would be able to get HIIT cardio in, a walk in, I'd have a really high quality training session. As a coach, you want to show up for your athletes. So, I was with them in the morning, basically through to the end of the day, and I managed to squeak in a 54-minute workout at the hotel gym, which, it didn't have a whole lot of equipment and it obviously wasn't a great session, but I still got something in. But, just that extra stress knowing that I'm not ready, it definitely was weighing very heavy. When you put so much time and energy into these competitions, it's just a lot of internal pressure, and I don't like to do things where I can't really focus and do my best. Yeah, this week was definitely a little bit rough. So thankfully, my overall mood has started to kind of improve and my stress has subsided a little bit this week, but I mean, I'm still at a 4. And I'm trying to be really open and honest with myself. I even took, a call this week earlier on Monday with my business mentor. I also had a call with my therapist. I was like, I need to talk to somebody about how I'm feeling, just to kind of give me a different perspective and, see things through a new lens. And it was really helpful. I think, if you guys haven't got your own therapist or mentor that you can talk to about things, trying to get your shit together on your own is often really challenging. And it doesn't matter how much work you've done on your self-development, we still don't have it all. And it was just very refreshing to get an outside perspective from 2 different individuals who I respect quite a bit. So food focus was very high this week. And I think part of that is, I'm having to kind of drop weight very quickly after taking that week off earlier. Monday, what day was it? I think, I ordered some, is it Cinnaholic? That it's a fun restaurant. They do cinnamon scrolls, they do brownies and things like that, just some delicious food. I was like, you've been so deprived this last week. So I can tell, if you look here at my food focus, it was about an 8 and it's been pretty consistently 8 for most of this prep, but it did start to sneak up, I think, on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And that was partly due to, I guess, the week catching up with me. I also made some ideal food choices again with traveling. I can't have the, convenience and comforts of my own home. And then also going out for dinners and stuff in restaurants that I wouldn't normally choose. It just makes it a little bit more challenging to hit my macros. So I think by the end of the week, I was really, really hungry. So by Monday, I thought to myself, okay, well, you are at this point where, you're ravenous. So rather than continue to choose foods that are going to maybe satisfy my physiological need and fullness, belly fullness, I wanted to have something that was actually going to satisfy me here. And we know that it's really important to make sure that foods do not kind of come back up onto the pedestal by avoiding. I don't want that kind of relationship with food. So that particular day, I ordered a delicious scroll. So I had a little bit more carbohydrate on Monday. I think the thing that I had, by the way, was so good. It had what is like cinnamon toast crunch on the top and some frosting and I don't know, whatever's in a cinnamon scroll. Haven't made those before, but it was about 55 grams of carbohydrate and it hit the spot. I was like, you know what? I feel really good about it. Sure, my calories are over a little bit, but I have been absolutely grinding myself to a pulp, with such little sleep. So that was enough to kind of get me over the hurdle and feel like very satisfied. And then, I kind of got back to work in terms of my training. So that's feeling a little bit better this week, but I now want to pop over and have a look at my my weight data. So I have come down by 1.3 pounds on average from at least my last week's weigh-in. So the previous week I was at 135.7 on average. This week my average has come down to 134.4, which is good. I actually haven't weighed in this week at all. Again, it's just been go. I've been doing the work in terms of hitting my macros and executing the training when I can. I guess the logical part of my brain knows that even though I haven't had opportunity to get on the scale, I'm doing the right things. My body composition is changing and I can see in the mirror every day, but I am always just kind of going straight from one task to the other to get everything done. And I've always taken my weight like first thing in the morning, you're completely naked. And I'm like, I'm already dressed. I've got my hat on, I've got my sneakers on. I'm like, I don't want to get undressed just to weigh myself. So I haven't done it this week, but I think tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, I will need to, because I need a data point to know what kind of adjustments I'm going to need to do for next week. So let's look at my nutrition. My average came in last week. And again, we're looking at the week of the 27th through to the 2nd of June. My calories came in on average at 1315. So I wasn't too far away from my goals. Now, I did have multiple meals out over Friday through Sunday because I was away. I didn't have a fridge or anything in my hotel room. And so it was a little bit limited and made it tough. But I packed a few things in my suitcase. I took some high protein wraps. I packed one meal from my refrigerator that I got to have on the train ride. And then I took a Greek yogurt and some powdered peanut butter because I knew the minute I got there, it was going to be go. So that was kind of helpful, but it didn't allow me to get all of my normal foods in. So I think the numbers that you can see from Friday through Sunday are mostly just estimates, and that's okay. And I was a little bit over on two of the days here. You can see 14:10 and 15:02 on Sunday. So yeah, the train ride back on Sunday morning was challenging because it was a 6:50 a.m. drive, I guess. I guess that's what you say when you hop on a train. So it was 3 hours and there was nothing open in the morning for me to kind of get a normal breakfast. And then the train, whilst they had a pretty decent, like large menu, knowing what my macros are, like everything was either in a sandwich or it was just high calories. So I had a couple of protein bars with me, but those protein bars are about 25 grams of carbohydrate each. And that is the most unsatiating 25 grams of protein I think I can imagine eating. It's like a last resort. So normally, like I think about what I can normally have for 25 grams of carbohydrate. It's like this giant bowl of stir-fried veggies with a delicious sauce and, some kind of an accompaniment. So, meanwhile, I just sat on the plane, had a coffee and ate 2 protein bars. I mean, there goes 50 grams of carbs like that, leaving me 60 for the rest of the day. And I'd arrived in Tampa by probably 10 a.m. And I still had the whole day ahead of me basically and lots of exercise to get caught up on. So that day was actually quite fun. I ended up catching up with one of my other clients, Astrid from Australia. You guys may know her. I'm also coaching her for her wellness competition later in the year. So I got a nice walk in with Astrid. And then we went and trained here at Powerhouse, which was really good. But I mean, I was just so hungry and tired, and mentally stressed out thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to be ready. So that was tough. But you can see here my fiber intake sucked on the day of the competition. Like there was nothing available in the hotel that kind of fit my macros or anything. So I was just eating just stuff that's not going to work well for a competitor. And I didn't have the bandwidth either to prep a whole lot of stuff. I think my last meeting on Friday was at 3:30 and my train was leaving at 4:15 and I hadn't even packed a suitcase. So I'm like, guys, I've got to get off this meeting. I need to pack and I need to get on a train. So it was just like, sweep a few things off the counter, throw it in my suitcase and go. But I got through. I'm trying to be compassionate to myself and recognize like, damn, you did a really good job considering just like what's going on. It's insane. Coming over to my training, let's have a look there. My overall number of minutes was about 300. So again, a little bit lower, and that's by and large due to that really short session that I squeaked in before dinner with my client on Saturday evening. And then the calories were at 1900 for the week. So I've been shooting for 2200 calories. So I'm again a little bit shy in all of those. My HIIT cardio came in at 67 minutes. I was meant to do 90. Again, with getting home on Sunday, I was already just mentally exhausted. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. or something, 4:30 to pack everything and then be at the train station. Like that would have been time I'd normally do my cardio, or at least not at that hour of the day. It would be sometime later in the day. But just that extra time awake. Like I said, I could have just closed my eyes and gone to sleep on Sunday, and I already, had to do a double day. So I just made the executive decision to, rest, and hopefully you can have a better week this week. So that came in at 716. One thing I have noticed is as I've gotten leaner and I've been dieting longer, the duration that I have to spend on the bike is actually a little bit more. It's not crazy, but I've always set the goal of getting to active calories above 300. So the total calories are the numbers that you're looking at here. So 394 and 322. But my active calories just to get to 300 used to be dead on 30 minutes. And the sessions have progressively felt or subjectively felt more and more difficult. It's like mentally so tough not to get off that bike. So I'll put I have my bike out on my patio, and I've got a fan on me and I play some music, but I'm 15 minutes in and I'm like, I want to get off. Or like, I'm just thinking about all the things that I should be doing or need to be doing that have nothing to do with this competition prep. So it's like, timing just sucks. But that's a normal response too. So as we lose our lean body mass, we're now smaller. So our bodies don't require the same amount of energy to perform the same movement. So for the same 30 minutes, let's say it's the exact same class that I might be doing, for example, because my body is now smaller and it doesn't require the same energy demands, the total caloric burn goes down. Yet I'm still calculating, I need 300 calories on each of those sessions 3 times a week to create my deficit. So they have been increasing by a few minutes here and there. But, it is what it is. So that's something else that I had observed. And my steps came in really low this week at 11,000 just because of that one day where I was glued to my computer collecting evidence and then also having a full day of coaching. So that was a tough one. But so for this week, I just did some math before. Let me go over to my summary sheet here. I would like to be a little bit leaner for this competition. Now, I know my feedback to the judges initially was come in a little bit softer for nationals. Now, I'm looking at all of my competitors online, like the people that are going to be on stage, maybe they're in different height classes. I'm looking at them, and then I'm looking at the pros that I may end up competing against at nationals as well if I win the NPC Bikini overall. So they're a little bit leaner than what I was in my last show. Now, even though the judges can say come in softer because it's the look that we want, when you are on stage with people that are leaner than you, that's where the judges' eyes go. So I would much rather come in harder than I need to be, and then, I can soften my appearance on stage through various posing strategies, glaze strategies, and I guess different protocols for my nutrition. I can choose to come in soft or hard, depending on how everybody's looking on the day. So with that being said, I probably want to come in around 132 on the dot. I think I was about half a pound to maybe 3/4 of a pound heavier on the last show. So with that in mind, my weekly rate of weight loss this week and next week needs to be about 1.2 pounds per week. That's almost 1% of my body weight per week, which is it's high for me, knowing the amount of work that I have to do that. It's not necessarily unsafe from a physiological perspective. I'm not losing weight at a rate that's going to compromise my metabolic health, but it is challenging here. And it is emotionally exhausting, knowing what else I'm trying to fit into my schedule. So it's going to be really hard. I thought about pulling out, I really did, but I have come all this way. I'm like, oh my God, it's just 2 more weeks. And then, I have to make that smart decision after nationals. So yeah, losing 1.2 pounds per week. Let's do a bit of quick math on the screen here. So 1.2 divided by 2.2046 times 1,000. So it's about 544 grams I'm trying to lose each week, or just over half a kilo. That's how many calories I would need to be in a deficit for over a 7-day period, or however many days to lose 1.2 pounds. And because I'm doing it over 7 days, it means that whatever my known maintenance calories are, I would have to bring my numbers down by about 460 calories, or I would have to do every single day 460 more calories of energy expenditure. Let me remind you what my cardio is costing me right now. So one of my 30-minute horrific spin classes that I do on my patio only costs me 360 calories. So we just saw this number of 460. I would have to add that on top of every single day in order to create that deficit. So it just goes to show you, just because a weekly target rate of weight loss, is on paper safe and efficacious, it doesn't mean that the practicality of that is is it even realistic? And in my case, it's going to be really hard. So with that being said, my goal for the next 2 weeks is to do that. So what are my numbers this week? Let's go over to my adjustments. My calorie goals for this week are the same as what I've been doing. I'm still shooting for 1277, but I have to hit these goals in order to do that. And I did it this week. We can see if we go over to have a look at my weight drop in the last 7 days, I did come down 1.2. So I nailed it this week. I've just got to do it next week and show up again the week after, which is the week of the competition. So it's not impossible. It's just been really challenging. So my goals don't need to change. I can keep my targets right at 1277, and I'm going to keep my training, keep my HIIT cardio, and get my steps in. It feels like it is consuming my life. So I'm very excited to get here, and I like, please, dear God, help me win this show, because I'm ready for a break. But yeah, that's my goals for this week. So I guess if you guys have got any questions about that, or maybe you're facing something similar in your own journey and you're having a difficult decision deciding like what's the right thing to do, please leave me a comment. I'd be happy to discuss it with you. So moving over to the YouTube questions from last week, let's go and take a look at some of those. Okay, so hey Holly, what do you do for your HIIT? Do you still do the circuits like you've discussed in your posts before, or do you utilize cardio machines? So my cardio, I've been pretty open about it. I just exclusively have been doing spin classes on my Peloton bike, and it's just purely out of convenience. Like if I had to drive myself to the gym for another 3 different sessions, where's that time going to come from? I just don't have it. So yeah, for me to just be able to pull out my sliding door and go outside and do that has been the main reason for me doing spin. I historically have done all kinds of different high intensity cardio. And again, I typically choose to do that because I've always been a busy person, and I've always done this as a hobby. So it kind of comes secondary to, my career. So I I used to do my own like HIIT classes. In fact, if you guys haven't spent much time on my YouTube, if you go to my channel and type in Holly Baxter HIIT, you will find several awesome workouts that you could do that are like 15 minutes or 30 minutes. They've got timers and countdowns. They've got descriptions and explanations of what you're doing next. The music is already on them, so you just basically hit play and off you go. So I have historically done those. I've also done machines. So I used to go over to the gym and do the Stairmaster. And then I guess, what else have I done? I used to do classes when I went to a gym where there were kickboxing classes. I haven't done that in a little while. And again, it's just, what I have access to. But one is not better than the other. I think really what's most important is, what do you enjoy? Because ultimately you've got to find something that you're excited to do, you enjoy it. Maybe there's a social element that makes you more excited to go. There's an accountability from a friend. That's really what matters, because all types of cardio have the potential to improve your cardiovascular fitness and burn calories. So, one is not necessarily better than the other, as I've said many times. Depending on whether you do HIIT, miss, lit, it's just they all expend a different amount of energy per unit of time. And if you're time poor, often HIIT makes more sense. In theory, even with what I'm doing right now, I am doing 60 minutes of walking each day. You could say, well, Holly, why are you doing that when that's going to cost you 420 minutes a week of your time? You could halve that and do HIIT. But the psychological, burden that comes along with prepping your mind physically and mentally to do HIIT, it's a lot harder. So, that's why I choose to do some low intensity exercise. And it gets me outdoors. I get to walk along the beach every single morning. It kind of sets me up and puts me in a really positive state of mind so that I can do the rest of the day. So there are additional benefits outside of, just burning calories for why I choose like a slow outdoor walk. So thank you so much for that question. Let's find another one. Can you show the exercises that best hit the upper and outer glute? Thank you. So there are several different movements that you can do for your upper and outer glute. I guess you're talking specifically about the medius and the minimus. Any kind of abduction exercise, so that's ABDUCTION, that is going to help with that upper outer glute movement. So, there are multiple different ways you can target that. We can do it body weight, just with like lateral leg raises, and you can do those straight to the side, or that you can do them back on the 45. You can do them weighted with a plate. You can do them on cables. You can do them with bands, and there are some machines as well. I'm not sure whether you guys, I might put the video up on the screen. I think it's a hammer strength, and you basically scoop your leg across and swing out to the side. So those would be some of the exercises that I do. And then, I guess that's kind of it. Anything that abducts or that causes abduction, so you're moving away from the body. I just mix up the exercises that I do in my program. I'll do a combination of all of those just for enjoyment. Some of them I like to do really high rep ranges. So if I'm using bands, I'll probably go to like 40 or 50 reps. I get an incredible, muscle-mind connection in those, and it feels really good. And I know 100% that they are working those muscle groups. I find it hard to enjoy exercises where I don't have a good mind-muscle connection. And of course, with heavier loads, that tends to go away. And I instead am feeling it in my soft tissue and the joints. And it's a little bit distracting, to be honest. So I tend to favor slightly higher or moderate to high rep ranges for the muscle groups that I know I can't feel or get as good of a connection with. So I hope that helps. There are so many. I would highly recommend subscribing to Be a Fit, my training app. And then when you go to replace those exercises, you can actually see all the other alternatives, and it will categorize the exercises based on the primary muscle group of the given exercise that I've prescribed and the movement pattern. And then the further you scroll down that list, it kind of gets further and further away. And then it will show you another list of exercises where it's just the secondary muscle group. So if, for instance, it was a hip thrust, that's only going to show you all the glute exercises. So it's quite cool in that way. So that's Be a Fit. It's available on Android and iOS. Someone here is saying, I'm listening to this while working out with your Be a Fit app, doing glutes and shoulders part 2. I'm on day 12 and I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so someone here said, as you are self-employed, maybe you can choose to work less. Yeah, I know that seems like a very logical explanation, but again, if I could tell you the circumstances that I am in, I guess I really can't say a whole lot about it, unfortunately. But yeah, because there's a litigation going on at the moment. But yeah, I would love to not have to work 84 hours a week plus all of my training. So again, that's one of the reasons why I think after this competition, I'll be stepping back, because that will save me probably, 7 hours a week. And that might be the 7 hours that I get extra sleep or just some time to switch my brain off, because it's just go, 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 go. But I do appreciate your suggestion to work less. I will definitely be doing that here at some point soon. Okay, so how do you continue to work on mental health? Do you continue to work in therapy, books? If so, any recommendations? Do you journal? And thank you so much. So I have a big stack of books over here that I just pulled off my shelf. This is probably like, I don't know, 1/10 of the books that I'm looking at. So I have done a lot of reading in the past, and I guess all of these books are books that I have probably read multiple times. I've listened to them on audio for a second time. So part of one of the things that I do every morning when I'm walking is I listen to something, and it's usually these books. I mean, I can go through and tell you what I've got here. So this first one is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I know a lot of you guys have probably read that one. This is a great book, Get Your Shit Together by Sarah Knight. Excellent. That's about habit formation. This one is a religious or spiritual book. It's The Search for Significance and a devotional. So this actually has exercises in here that you can do. So I'm just opening to a random page. This is called The Fear of Rejection, this chapter. But there's a question here. It says, how does the fear of being rejected or disapproved of by people affect your life? And give examples. So, it kind of gets you thinking about things. Then there's also The Power of Regret. This one is by Daniel H. Pink. I've got Atomic Habits as well. That is by James Clear. I've got another one over here. This one is A Clear Thinking. This is what I am reading currently. It's on my bedside by Shane Parrish. And I think for the first 2 chapters, I could not put it down. So it was so good. I posted this one on my Instagram just the other day. Okay, what have we got here? I have Give and Take by Adam Grant. So this is about helping other people that then drives success. So it's about kind of giving and you kind of get back. This is another one that I've talked a lot about. Dr. Carolyn Leaf, I actually got to see her present in person. She's a neuropsychologist, and it's called Switch On Your Brain. We got about 6 more, guys, so take notes. Badass Habits by Jen Sincero. I've seen her on Jay Shetty recently, but she's been around for a long time. This is anybody, that's struggling with, having a goal and knowing that certain behaviors allow you to get to the outcome of the goal, but you're struggling to execute what you need to do. And I know there's actually a question here from Astrid that says, how do you stick to your own schedule or calendar? I have a really hard time sticking to that. This would be a great book. I used to be the world's best procrastinator. Anything that sounded difficult or I struggled with, because I didn't have great coping skills. And again, I wasn't raised in an environment where I think I was taught good coping skills. I was kind of wrapped up in cotton wool. Everything was done for me. I never had to struggle. Things were always just done for me. And as a consequence, I guess parents, obviously you can't blame your parents for that, but they are trying to do what's best in their eyes for their children. But I think when you don't give your children an opportunity to fail or have things go wrong or bad outcomes or negative things happen, I think that it's a critical skill, something that we need to learn when we're young so that we can cope when we are adults. And I think consequently, I really struggled with my capacity to make decisions and also, I guess, with doing things that I felt uncomfortable doing. So this is a really good book. I've posted that before in Reels. Obviously, being somebody that's in, an entrepreneurial position, I read a lot about success and leadership. So Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last, excellent book. Another one by Simon Sinek, Start with Why. You've got to have a great why for just about anything. If you aren't committed to that why and it doesn't come from a place that's fulfilling and purpose-driven, you usually won't pursue it. So, when things are superficial or external, it's difficult to kind of get behind that when it doesn't actually leave you feeling, very good about yourself. This one is The Courage to Be Disliked. This is an interesting read. It's kind of a dialogue between a professor and a student, and it's fascinating. I highly recommend this one. It's unusual. I've never read a book that's written like this before, but it was kind of just like a student and their teacher, like going and chatting in the evenings and kind of taking little lessons away from the day every day. It was really, really good. And then Good to Great. I think a lot of people have probably read this one by Jim Collins. Again, these are more like leadership success books, but so much of the learnings you can apply to your own, personal lives just to be a good person. So those are just some. I mean, like I said, I have a whole shelf of books, and I think it's a lot more convenient these days to read books because everything is now available on audio. So thank you for that question. I guess to supplement books and audio, I for probably about 4 years straight had therapy every single day, and I think what came along with that was just so much wisdom and just learning and self-development. And I feel like I actually got to a point where I've been I feel like I'm in such a better position to make good decisions, non-emotional decisions, not reacting, and being spiteful and negative. And, I think I can just kind of step back a little bit and be like, I know this is really corny, but like, what would Jesus do? And so often, like if you've had a thought that is really overly emotional or reactive, or it might be something that allows you temporary relief or pleasure, but it doesn't necessarily lead to long-term positive outcomes, like I can very easily just not do that, which I think that's really difficult for a lot of people, not to react out of emotion and to see the other side of the story sometimes. So yeah, I actually didn't need to get therapy for probably about, I'm going to say 12 months. So for most of 2023, I hadn't needed to have any therapy. It's been great. I've still listened and read a lot of books, but I think I put so much time and effort in early on that I haven't felt the need. But like I said in the video earlier this week, I definitely contacted my mentor in business, and then also my therapist, just to kind of talk through the decision actually to step away from, I guess, competition, even, regardless of how I do in the next 2 weeks at the comp. So, oh my gosh, I hope I do well. It's been a lot of work. Scrolling down, somebody asked about the challenge that we've got coming up. So let me just switch screens real quick. So here you can see our Love Yourself Fit Challenge. The registration closes on July 3. So we've got just over 4 weeks. We have a DIY option, which is only $130. It's a 12-week challenge, and there are prizes at the end. And then we also have our one-on-one coaching version of this. So for people that would like a little bit more support, all of our coaching team are participating in this, and we have an incredible team of coaches. So you can come over to this particular page, and you can sign up anywhere in the world. That's the great thing about being an online coach. So I think that is about all in terms of questions for this week. I hope that today's discussion has been insightful. Maybe you can relate some of this to your own circumstances, and, making positive decisions that, align with your values and your beliefs and the person that you want to be. It was certainly not an easy decision for me, this past week to decide, regardless of the outcomes of nationals, to not compete unless my circumstances change dramatically. It's great to pursue a goal, but, I don't think anything should be pursued if it comes at the cost of your mental health and physical health, in my opinion. Like, I'm sore, I'm broken, and I just need to give myself a little bit of rest and find that balance again, because I've definitely felt myself shifting away, not being able to engage in, relationships, romantic or otherwise. It's not who I want to show up in the world as. And I also want to make sure that I can be present and available for my team. And, with 13 and a half hours committed to training each week, it's time that I could be spending, growing and enhancing, my team, and also just being supportive and available. So that is all from me this week, guys. I hope that you have all a wonderful, wonderful week. If you've got questions, please feel free to drop those in the comment section below. Hopefully you caught all of those books, but if you have got any questions about those, you can always shoot me a message or a comment. And I will see you next week, and we're going to be, oh my goodness, let me just see how many days. So next week when I do my check-in, I'll be 11 days out from nationals. So I am sickly excited. I just know I have so much to do this week. So I guess until then, I'll see you in my next video.